So I have three pieces. A couple are poems, and one of them is a very, very short story. So I'm going to start with the short story. And it's called Banana Kelly Boom Boom Boom. In the deep moon evening of a hot July, when Vincent, my husband, and I were in the murky turns and twists of restless, too little air conditioning sleep, the sweat on our foreheads lit only by la luna coming through our sheer drapes, something seemed to be calling from afar. It was a distant rumble. We tumbled, not really knowing if we were waking up or if our stomachs were grumbling from the mediocre Italian we'd ordered hours before. My eyes stayed shut. Vincent's head stayed put. In our dreamy state, we unconsciously wished our slumber wasn't being jumbled. Boom, 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 boom. What was that? One eye opened. First mine, then his. A head turned, a shoulder lifted. Boom, 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 boom. A distant scream. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Somebody scream. Applause, cheers. What the heck was that? I mumbled. It's a party, Vincent answered, still convinced he might get back to sleep. But it sounds like it's in our apartment. Where is it? Boom, 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 boom. It's everywhere, Vincent said, finally sitting up. I turned on the light, walked around the bedroom, went into the hallway where Violet, our fat gray cat, was by the door trembling. I picked her up, continued to every corner of the apartment, stroked her fur to reassure her it was all good, and listened through each wall and window to figure out where the party was. I heard a man speak in a microphone. The sound came through my bathroom window. Gente bonita, gracias por estar aquí esta noche tan bella para celebrar este evento especial. Quiero hablarles de mi vida. The man continued non-stop, was still talking when I walked back to Vincent in the bedroom. I think it's over by the train, I reported back to Vincent. If we sleep on the pull-out in the front room, it's a little quieter there. But you know what's crazy? It's not just music. There's someone speaking on a microphone, like constantly. I can't hear what all they're saying, but it's like they're taking turns on the mic, just talking. It ain't rap or anything like that. Vincent asked, what, did someone get a microphone for their birthday and they decided to give everyone a shot? Maybe. We both looked at each other and said, the Bronx. When did we become the people woken up by the party? He asked. I started remembering. I remembered years ago when he and I decided to have a jam session with tons of friends, 3 sets of congas, 5 guitars, and 2 keyboards, starting at midnight. At 4 in the morning, our landlord came down and just looked at us. We apologized and packed up the gear right away. My thoughts returned to the present, and I looked at my husband's sleepy face. Well, Vincent, I'm glad the people in our neighborhood are having fun. I smiled. I grabbed my pillows. If we were younger, it would be us. Vincent grabbed the comforter, the sheets. We set up camp in the living room. He and I snuggled tight on the open sofa and breathed together in syncopated rhythms that went boom, boom, boom to the beat, beat, beat of Banana Kelly Street. Honestly, I still miss every summer, because we don't live on Banana Kelly anymore, but every summer there would be at least once a week those wonderful parties, and I loved it. We'd camp out in the living room, and I just loved that everyone was having a good time. So the next piece that I'm going to read is about someone who I'm going to call Carl. He was someone who lived next door to us on Kelly Street. It's not his real name. I've changed it, but you may recognize who I'm talking about if you live on Kelly Street. So this is Carl El Corazón. This is a poem. The morning sun on brown stone makes the brick mellow, gold, and soft like pumpkin bread. Fall mornings on Kelly were quiet, moments before school kids skipped to class, clad in bright pink book bags and blue uniforms. I tried to leave for work early during the silent glow of the warm sun, a stark contrast to my jittery nerves in the AM. I hate any time before noon. But then there was Carl, sweeping the sidewalk each day like a clock, keeping time with the block. Good morning, he'd say, opening a door to kindness. My nerves tried to hold me back like handcuffs, but my heart saw the sprinkle of gray on his mahogany head. So what could I do but say, good morning, back? Two words that somehow made the traffic jam rush different, better. He upped it and even threw in a little more love with, have a nice day. Yes, Carl, I will have a nice day. You too, dear friend. Vincent and I grew used to Carl's sweetness each day, a methodical love that reassured us that we were all braided together like the rope of the ship that keeps it docked during fearful storms. He was the heart of Kelly Street, El Corazón, reminding us to find the connecting rhythm we shared. So when he wasn't there one day, we got scared. Where could he be? They've started delivering his mail to our door. Should we call the police? Let's knock on his door and see if he answers, was the conversation my husband and I had. We knocked, but no answer. The sidewalk grew dusty. School kids threw trash around, which we tried to pick up. My plan was finally to call the cops in the morning if we didn't see him the next day. But then, there he was, sweeping the sidewalk again. We bum rushed Carl. Carl, where have you been? We were worried. He had an expression of shock on his face. He clearly did not realize the effect of his constant thoughtfulness in El Barrio. He looked at us as if to wonder and finally said, I was at my daughter's house. I needed to have surgery, and she took care of me. We immediately understood, asked if he was okay, and said, we're so glad you're back. The neighborhood was not the same without you. We walked up the stoop to our apartment, and before we disappeared, Carl's voice rang out, have a good day. We did. We had many good days. Thank you. I can still see him with his little flannel shirts. All right, and then this one is about the Bronx in general. I work at Bronx Community College, and they have a Hall of Fame. It's literally the original Hall of Fame. All other Hall of Fames are kind of like, they bit off that idea. So this is a little bit about that and who gets remembered. It's called the Bronx Entrails. The Bronx always makes me think of what is native. Who was here first, and who gets to keep what? I teach at Bronx Community College. Our lush architecture, complete with Roman columns, arches, and domes, houses several historic landmarks, including the original Hall of Fame. When the Munchkins hail Dorothy and proclaim her copper bust will live forever in the Hall of Fame, it is my Bronx campus they are referring to. A curved promenade hails Edgar Allan Poe, Jane Addams, Booker T. Washington, all the right statesmen. But I can't help think of Chitlins. The original owner of the campus was New York University. We got what was left when it went bankrupt. The gorgeous Tiffany glass windows are entrails of a discarded library that we must make do with. What beautiful garbage we are so fortunate to have. Milwaukee Avenue, the lifeline of Logan Square in my previous hometown, Chicago, began as a native trail. Today you can see retro pubs popping up on it, some decorated in Americana garb. Scandinavians settled in the Bronx for control over its trade lifeline, today known as the Harlem River. Hipster bands like the Killers have recently started playing in the renovated Lowe's Paradise Theater on the Grand Concourse, a street that reminds me of Chicago's Milwaukee Avenue. The native Siwanoy band of Lenape used to call the Bronx Ranachqua. Jonas Bronk, the first settler, was murdered in 1643 by a raid of those natives. Bronk is not in the BCC Hall of Fame. Natives are carved into the Illinois Centennial Monument. Latinos, however, who have lived and still live in both areas are not in copper or stone in either place. Yet these are our spaces where we breathe in and out and shed our bodies every day. We carve the pavement with our feet. We carve the sky with our words. Our bellies ingest, digest the space. Our minds and soul shape the space. We create a trail, a trail, a trail, a trail. Thank you.